Welcome back to the Boys in Motion podcast. We're your hosts, Tyler, Brian, and Andrew. We're here with episode 31, reflecting on 2024 and setting big goals for 2025. Today, we're diving into everything that made 2024 unforgettable and share how we're gearing up to make 2025 even better.
From organizing epic events like the second annual BIM bike ride to launching our first public BIM 5K, 2024 was a year of milestones and the first year ever of the Boys in Motion. And trust us, 2025 is going to be even better. We've got some massive goals for ourselves and for the BIM community, and we can't wait to take you all along for the ride.
Yeah, we're going up and to the right. Stick with us as we recap the highs of 2024, dive into our personal goals for next year, and talk about how the Boys in Motion is going to help at least 100,000 people run their first half marathon or do their first century ride. Let's jump right in. The first thing I got to say, Andrew, is that light behind you. I might have to try to do some kind of zoom in technology here, but the Boys in Motion neon light in your background is beautiful.
Oh yeah, we went into 2025 with some setup upgrade with the Boys in Motion sign back here. Big shout out to Mischievous. She got it for me a while back, but with the move, it took me a little bit to set it up and get my space the way I wanted it to. But big shout out is a big addition to the podcasting studio.
That's real nice. Good way to start 2025 too, just with a nice, fresh, clean look. I love it.
Yeah. So before we dive into the new year coming and what we've got brewing in store for the community, I think it's important we take our little reflection, retrospective on 2024. So we had some huge wins, of course, for our community and ourselves, but let's start off with the community. One of the highlights of my year was the second annual BIM bike ride. When it was founded, it was just Andrew, myself, and Bikerman Mark. But this year, or last year, we had a huge turnout. We explored new roads and made some very incredible memories and a lot of great content that I was really thrilled to see over the holiday season. Some of those great recaps you put together, Tyler, that was nice.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite moments of 2024. Can't wait to smash next BIM ride with all the crew and maybe even bigger and better. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But that bike ride was just phenomenal.
One of the highlights of my year was our 2 BIM 5Ks we had. First in the spring was just with our core group, but bigger than ever. It was about 10 runners for that edition, and we did that around Merritt Island, and that was great success. Everyone had fun. But in the fall, we had our first BIM 5K where we invited outside folks, friends of friends, and we also posted some signs around the area where we got 30 runners to join us at the Allenberg Bridge for just a great day of racing. I think a lot of fun was had by all and some speedy times out there. It was a great one.
Yeah, speaking of speedy times, that was one of the highlights of my year was running that BIM 5K. I missed out on the first one with an ankle injury, so I was so thrilled that we did two last year, and that fall or late summer fall one was just beautiful, immaculate vibes, lots of times, and I think it was so motivating to see and hear some of the great feedback from the community, which really motivates us this year to try to put another one on the calendar.
Can't wait for our next ones coming up. Also, honorable mention to the first Ottawa 5K. John with a big host on the Tuesday Trot. We had a good core group out there. Probably about 7 or 8 people out on that mid or late November 5K. So that was a lot of fun. Stay tuned for another big Ottawa 5K, which will be nice. Just expanding beyond that local Niagara region and into the Ottawa boys. So that'll be nice too.
And last but not least was our merch drops. It's just our way of getting our BIM community to rep the Boys in Motion way. So we did some giveaways at the BIM 5K, some t-shirts, some stickers. We also did our singlet drop, And I think we'll have a bunch of athletes at Around the Bay that will be repping those, hopefully, as long as it's not too chilly out there in Hamilton. And for those that haven't received them, we'll be getting them to Tyler shortly so that he can deliver those for you. But there was just a little bit of mishaps with our ordering process. So we're getting them going.
Exactly. Some would say it was a fire hot sale. And so, yeah, those that missed out on them in the holiday season, don't worry. It's too chilly in Ottawa right now to be wearing them anyways, but they'll be primed and ready to go in the spring. Yeah, I think the key takeaway of 2024 for me was just the power that community can have to really push forward something as momentous as Boys in Motion is. I think there's a lot of wind in our sails right now, a lot of people training towards similar goals. And I think part of the foundation for that was some of the events and a lot of the chats and communications we have with the community. So it's spectacular to see, and it's motivating for my training as well.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's pretty cool is we started with the BIM 5Ks, our BIM bike ride, with a very small core group of people that were all enjoying doing these endurance things. And over the course of this year, we're seeing that core group start to grow. So that core group is getting larger, as well as being able to kind of reach people online that are reaching out to us that are wanting to get into it. So it's pretty cool to see this, just the wheels are in motion. So now that we've went over the community piece and just how awesome everyone is in the Boys in Motion community, let's flip over to our years and some of the things that we tackled and conquered. Let's start with you Tyler. What were you up to in 2024?
Couple, I was gonna say a big race year for me. I think a lot of volume, not just volume training wise, but volume. The races were quite heavy, race or two every month, so it was a lot of fun this past season. But the main one, big Ironman PR, so just got squeezed under that 12-hour mark. Got fall marathon PR as well, and again, sprinkling in a couple half marathons and other local tries within those two main marathons, and also another marathon. Just a great season, and can't forget to mention that nice 50K to end the year. So that was just great season, great overall vibes, and just amazing all together. How about you? Let's go with Brian. Give me some 2024.
Yeah, so there was that post on Instagram that we put up with our Wrapped. And one thing that I'm very proud of and a big win was a ton of volume this year. I don't know, I was around 8,000 kilometers for the year, basically across biking and running, and about 2,300, 2,400 of that was running, which I'm very, very happy with. I think the main target going into the year was running that Ottawa Marathon, my first marathon, and that was a huge success. I hit my A goal. I had kind of said, no matter what, I want to be under 330. Maybe I can do it under 320, but the ultimate win would be to do it under 315, and I hit that, which was spectacular. So that was a huge accomplishment. And I think in gearing up to that, one thing that I'm super proud of is that sub 90 minute at the Kingston half during that training block on tired legs. Now, of course, some might argue that that was a little short of a half. So I have an itch to see if I can match something like that again. And then staying on track with the running. My fall season wasn't super race heavy. I only had one race, and that was the BIM 5K. And that BIM 5K, I had my eyes on the prize for a whole training block gearing up towards that, which was a sub 25K. And I smashed that as well. So huge running year, definitely the biggest running year that I've ever had. And I think it might even be a bigger running year than 2025 for me. So yeah, that was super successful. And I'm also really proud of some cycling races that I was able to attend. So Tuesday night crits in Ottawa right before moving back to Niagara. That was super fun to experience, and it kind of has I've got the bite to do some more criterium races, and a huge result at Heck of the North exceeded my expectations, finishing in 10th place. So we'll call that a top 10 finish there. So yeah, a year of pride for me, but one that kind of built off the foundations in years past where I didn't really have any races. This was the first year where I kind of sprinkled in a little bit of racing because, as you know, I just like training.
Love it. Yeah, huge volume year for you, that's for sure. It was crazy. And a big increase in volume too. The percentage increases all across distance and elevation, just jumbo increases from 2023. So you really just were focusing and just, getting that volume in, which was nice to see. For me in 2024, being the one trick pony, there was a lot of running PRs. So basically across the board, 5K, 10K, half marathon, PR'd in either tune-up races or time trials. So it was nice to be able to get those on tired legs. But the big one for me was getting that 245, breaking 245. And after a failed attempt in Ottawa with a 246, because I got scammed into doing a hilly race, I was finally able to blast through that 245 at the Toronto Waterfront Marathon. So that was a big breakthrough and a big decrease in PR time for the marathon. So that was pretty awesome. Also at the BIM 5K was able to go sub 17 with a 16:36. So that was also another substantial decrease in my 5K time. So it's nice to see the endurance and the marathon piece is coming down, but that 5K piece is also coming down quite a bit, which is nice to see the speed kind of go hand in hand. And then, like Brian, my running mileage was the biggest it's ever been, just squeaking by getting 2,000 miles for the year. And in doing so, I had my largest training week in Runnerman Andy history with 112 miles the last week of 2024. So that's 180 kilometers for freedom units. And to do that, I also ran 2 ultras in a 9-day span, the 58 Yonge Street Ultra and 100-kilometer hanging out with all my friends ultra. So yeah, it was a big 2024. It was lots of fun.
That is huge, and that high mileage week is nuts because I would consider that a great week of cycling mileage right now. So the fact that you did that running on the 2 Foot Express is just wild. Yeah, a huge congratulations. And I was just so impressed to be looking at your live results at the Toronto Waterfront where you went 242 because you were just blitzing your goal pace. So just absolutely phenomenal, and the speed in the fall was unmatched.
Absolutely wild. And the friggin' ultra with running with friends with Andy couldn't have been any better. That was a great way to end the year too. That was awesome.
The BIM boys, the 3 BIM boys, plus the community out there running, I think was the absolute best way to end the year, kind of going into that holiday season as we were all winding down with work. It was just time to ramp up that training. A lot of us were off or, jumping in and out of meetings. So it was a good way to end the year.
Yeah, and it was a great way to close the chapter on 2024, which brings us to 2025. And I think we've got some big goals for 2025. But to root us in this conversation, I think it's worth stepping back in time to our first episode where we talked about our community goals and why we were launching BIM. So this is the reason and the why that we kind of stand behind. So the first, and I think this was myself who suggested this one, was to help 100,000 people run their first half marathon or ride their first century ride. Now, that's aggressive. That's a big number, but I think that comes only with some virality and the kind of megaphone of social media to make that one possible, which, yeah, we will see if we can make more progress on that. But already what we're doing with Around the Bay is a step in the right direction towards.
And next up was my goal, which, although a much more reasonable number, probably will involve a lot more logistics on our side to figure it out and to expand to this number. And that is to host an in-person BIM 5K or running related event with 100 plus participants. So we had 30, so we're marching towards that goal nicely.
I mean, I like that number. 100 would be a real nice number to get a nice community event going. But mine was also real nice. Launch our first destination training camp. I mean, 2 weeks ago I was just on my own little training camp for about 10 days, so that was real nice. I was telling the boys that's a destination training camp paradise, so maybe I could figure that out and get some of the boys going on a nice training camp. So we'll see in the future how that'll work.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one big thing that we've been focusing on, similar in our training, is in Boys in Motion communications and just the consistency there. I think all of that pushes us towards the right direction of achieving these goals, just getting more reach, getting more eyeballs, and having more people involved in endurance sports, in our close community, and just kind of in the ether of the internet. And a number that I recently pulled was our all time channel views on YouTube. Can either of you guess, and this includes shorts, how many views we've gotten since our start date back in approximately like late June or July?
I'm gonna go in the 25,000 range.
Right, I was gonna say
That's my guess.
20K. I was gonna say 20,000.
No, it's a good guess, but we've been very successful. And of course, shorts are a huge part of our content piece. But 60,000, we recently surpassed 60,000 views on YouTube. So I think we're doing well in making content that is relevant for people that people really enjoy.
Nice, yeah. And another piece of trying to go towards these goals, and we kind of had started to do this with the pop up Ottawa 5K in the fall, is we want to try to expand our events and try to make them more accessible to more locations. So we're kind of more based in Niagara, but with Tyler being in Ottawa, we can spread the fun a little bit and do some stuff in the capital as well. And we just want to try to reach more people. So this for the coming events, I think we're going to work a little harder to push that word of mouth and trying to invite people out to these events. The first time, I think we were trying to manage risk a little bit and kind of invite our core groups and friends of friends. But this time, I think we are going to try to push it a little bit more and see how many people we can get at that spring edition at least.
Yeah, and when we talk about destination training camps, well, it's not a big destination for you. It is one for the boys in Niagara, which is cycling up in Gatineau. And there's already been some chatter about a trip up to the park to catch some nice elevation and some beautiful cycling. So you might see some of us Niagara boys in the 613 soon enough. So keep your eyes peeled, Tyler, because yeah, we might be rolling through one of these days.
It'd be real nice. I'll have to warn the NCC. The boys are rolling in, so that'll be real nice. Roads are closed for you already, so let's
Yeah, they'll have to get their speeding cameras out though.
for frig. Better watch out with Adam on his nice new bike on those downhills. Oh my God, he's gonna pass the speed limit. That's for sure.
It's a climbing bike, but boy, does that guy go fast downhill, eh?
I don't know if Mike is going. Those descents, I think, are even more extreme. I'm nervous. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near Mike on those descents. Is all I gotta say, because that boy can fall.
Oh, he knows where the limit is now, though. That's exactly where I want to be, right or on rails, right beside him, going down those nice descents.
Exactly. Get him a tutorial before we start doing those descents. That's for sure.
So also aiming to grow the kind of the community itself, we are aiming to kind of continue this weekly podcast. When we originally started, it was a commitment for a year. We wanted to see where we would end up. So we're certainly aiming at 52 episodes and beyond. In addition to that, maybe some more guest episodes. I think it was super successful and very inspiring to hear Ross come and join us, answer some of our pressing questions, and help kind of motivate our community. I want to see some other guests. There's a few that I have in mind who I'm just like so impressed by the way they train, the way they race. So that would be fantastic. What do you guys kind of have on the content train that you're excited about in 2020?
You know, I love my events, so I would like to expand some more nice, either local to each area, but our local 5Ks, get some nice group people into some major races like we're doing with around the bay, kind of follow that train with other races like Toronto half marathon or marathon, and then something maybe also in the fall or in the summer with some local races. But just expanding those races and fill up everybody's race calendar as much as possible without injury is what I love to do. I just love to race, so keep it coming.
Yeah, and then also keeping up, we do our shorts with our podcast content and also our new quick tips, but we're also going to be bringing you some more just general training videos with maybe workouts, training hacks, that kind of stuff, and kind of trying to take you along some of the journey of all of those long training hours that we're doing. We'll try to at least capture some of it. Sometimes it's a little tricky with, managing a tough workout and doing it at the same time, but try to capture as much and just give some insightful tips for everyone else that's slogging along with us.
Yeah, that gives me the idea to maybe launch the scientist's secrets, and I can do some recipes, the homemade goo and maybe pool water mix as well.
Oh, I know everybody's waiting for it, so I can't wait to see what you have cooking up in the kitchen. Also excited to see some freaky training plans, so that'll be real nice. Some upcoming training plans. I know, Andrew, you started for your spring block, so I know the miles are going to start getting freaky because they already are, and they already were before your training plan, so I can't wait to see some more miles on that.
Yeah, and I think we're all doing things a little bit differently this year, tweaking some things, optimizing some things for our own performance and our own endurance goals. So I think as we go throughout our different blocks and different segments and periods, we'll kind of give updates, what works, what doesn't work, what tweaks we're making, and just kind of being super transparent about everything along the way that kind of gets us from A to B in during the season.
Yeah, totally. Now, one thing that is huge in the calendar for next year is our own BIM events, which I think I'd love to highlight some of those dates, at least in the spring, that we're aiming for. So, what excites me the most is that cycling draft train. So, I'll talk about the BIM Spring Ride. This is the third annual BIM Ride, and it's happening on May 30th and 31st. So if you're listening to this, you're invited. Get that chain oiled up and put that helmet on and come join us. We're expanding the ride this year to two separate groups. So you'll have Group A, and we will ride. I will certainly be in that Group A, and I think Andrew is leading Group B. And Group A will ride for 2 days. And both of those days will roughly have 100 miles, maybe a bit more. So, like something in the 160 to 180 kilometers per day. And those are at speeds of about 30 to 35 kilometers an hour. And I think if you're wondering if you are fast enough to be in that A group, I would say if you can go out and ride 30 kilometers in 1 hour, you would be able to keep up with that group. The benefit of the draft is huge, and hopefully we can plan it so that if you're not feeling the best, you could potentially join Group B at a certain point during the day. So we will try to coordinate those kind of options. Group B, it's also a 2-day ride, roughly 100 kilometers per day, but it's at a more casual pace. It's a no drop ride. So that means that the group will stick together. Is there anything you
Yeah,
wanted to add on that, Andrew?
I think you covered it pretty good. But yeah, it's really just we're trying to expand. We've gotten some interest from some different folks, but they've seen some of the Strava posts from our BIM ride, and we're like, that's a little too rich for me. So we are going to expand. And I'm more than happy to join the B group as the one trick pony. I don't need to do much biking through the winter to keep up with these speedy boys, and just trying to get as many people moving, whether you have done long rides casually or just kind of getting into cycling. Group B will be perfect for you, and we'll have a great day, some nice coffee stops, some nice chit chat while we're riding. It'll be a good fun day.
I'm so excited. I just can't wait. I know last year it was, early July, but still with a later fall race, it kind of like kick-started my bike training. So I think it'll be doing the same thing, kick-starting my outdoor bike training with a nice 2-day in the draft, just loving every minute of it. So can't wait. And no drop, love it.
Well, yeah, the A group, well, we won't really aim to drop. I think it would be nice to try to coordinate some intersection between the two groups so that some of that social can still happen because there's a lot of people that I would love to ride with who I know will be in the B group and vice versa. So yeah, we're really excited to sort of plan and start to coordinate that. And I think in the coming month or two, you will start to see some more communications about that, some posts about that. So stay tuned and yeah, get excited because that BIM ride's going to be great. What else do we have?
Like our fall BIM 5K, we're going to keep it rolling. But this year, we're planning to do two BIM 5Ks, a spring and a fall, that are both open to public. Whoever wants to come race with us, they can. And we will be doing them the same way that we did our previous BIM 5Ks, which would be the staggered start. So that epic sprint finish right at the end, just no matter where you're at in your running journey, everyone's sprinting towards that finish line, trying to cross the tape first. So it's a lot of fun. Our spring 5K is going to be held during Easter weekend, and that is the Saturday, April 19th. More details to come on location, but it will be in the Niagara region. We're still just finalizing course and a few things, but save the date for April 19th if you're looking for a nice spring 5K. But we are expanding, and we're hoping to make the pop-up Ottawa 5K an official BIM 5K. So tell us about that, Mr. Ottawa man.
Percent. I'm trying to keep it in the same theme of bridges, so we'll either use a nice path along the canal, or even like last time, kind of closer to the south end on the nice near the nice Vimy Bridge in Ottawa. But we're gonna get a nice 5K group out there, and we'll do same style as the ones in Niagara because that worked out very well. But hopefully get a nice big community out there too, because I think it'd be pretty easy to get a lot of people just depending on the date. So stay tuned for the date for that one, but that'll be more to come on that.
So why don't we shift gears over to what we're aiming for in 2025? So some of our goals, some of the things we want to do, see, or PR on. Tyler, why don't you launch us first?
I'll kick us off with a couple quick bullet points here. Again, trying to strive for that Ironman PR. I'm looking for closer to an 11-hour finish. So we'll see how the bike training goes, but trying to get to that 11 hours as close as possible in the hometown of Ottawa. So it's very possible if I could get those good training miles in throughout the season. Nice little spring half marathon. I want to go nice and speedy. Going to try to follow in the BIM boys' footsteps and get a sub 90. Be the third boy to get a sub 90, so that'd be real nice. Fall marathon is another big one for me. I'd like to get into that 3:15 range, so already signed up for Petit Plain du Nord. Nice downhill marathon course, nice fall colors, so should be nice if I could get the training in. I know I'll have the volume, so we'll see where the training takes me for that one, and just keep it speedy. Want to break that 20-minute 5K mark again. It'd be a great stage to do it at one of the BIM 5Ks, so looking forward to that, and just a bit rolling with just staying with the community, helping everybody out as much as possible, and kind of being more of that triathlon mentor, because I know we got some pretty speedy one-trick ponies out there that could help more on the running side of things and cycling. So I think I'll be the tri specialist, you could call it. And maybe we finish the year with another ultra. We'll see. How about you? Let's go to Brian.
Yeah, so I think the number one aim for me is training volume. I have a big boy year of cycling ahead of me is the goal that I'm setting. I want to have my annual volume of 10,000 kilometers of training. Now, I want to shift the weight a little bit more towards the bike than last year. I would like 80% of that mileage to actually be on the bike. So that's 8,000 kilometers of cycling and roughly 2,000 kilometers of running. Now, on the bike, I think the winter block right now is dedicated to just base FTP increase. So I'd like to have over a 300 watt FTP by the time we hit the roads in the spring, and I'd like to bike with the BIM squad. So notably, and I've discussed it with them, is Mark, Adam, and Mike. I would absolutely adore to have a nice race with them, either in the spring or fall or both. In addition, I'd like to hit another sub 90 half. So that's a running goal for myself. And I want to see if I can compete in some sort of trail run as well. Lastly, I would like, and this is something I'm going to be diligent about tracking and actually putting on Strava, is 100 days of functional fitness training sessions. So that's kind of my physio's prescribed routine. I've got it taped onto my wall. I've only done it twice, but I haven't put them on Strava. So maybe tonight I'll do my first one on Strava.
Nice. I'd be interested to see. Maybe at some point you have to post what all you're doing and kind of like the things that you're working through to let everyone know.
For sure. Yeah, very interested in that. And then the last thing for me, one thing that I do want to give a shout out to is training for Around the Bay. While I'm not planning on racing that for a PR for myself, I am running alongside my partner, the Rascal. And yeah, her and I are going to be blitzing the streets of Hamilton and Burlington together. And I'm really excited to have that be a successful day for her and myself pacing her. What about you, Andrew?
Nice. Some wonderful goals. My number one goal is that marathon PR. I'm chasing those quicker times. But to note, I have no more time qualifiers for the world majors. So this year it's really about starting to race. I don't necessarily have a hard set time goal of what I'm chasing, but I would like to see how close I can stomp towards that like 3:35 range. I think is like the within reason. And to do that, the hard rule is fast marathons only for 2025. No hilly races, no Ottawa Marathon, only slightly net downhill or pancake flat like Berlin. So they're already on the calendar, so I can't be persuaded of anything else. So that's goal number one.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I have a question. You said 3:35. Is that the pace or did you mean
Oh, sorry.
2:35?
2:35.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the brain doesn't even
2:35.
register.
Yeah, I'm not regressing by 50 minutes. That's not my 2025 goal. But moving on is to kind of I'm working on my own marathon PR and my running goals, but is to also be more involved in mentoring beginners in the running space. Beginning for Around the Bay, I kicked this off with Ian, who has the goal of breaking 40 at the Around the Bay 5K. So kind of gave him a running plan, he just completed week 1, so just kind of checking in with him, giving him feedback. And he also went to Kintec to get a new set of shoes and did the analysis. So he's all set up for a successful block. But it really is to just kind of reach out to people in the community that kind of want some help getting started. And if there are anyone listening, please reach out to me if you do have any questions about workouts or how to get into things, either on any of our social platforms or Strava. Always happy to give a helping hand. And maybe in the lead up to Around the Bay, it could also be fun to organize a group workout in Niagara. Could be fun. Maybe hit up a track and do kind of like a set workout, and kind of no matter what paces you're at, we could all do it together and have a fun session.
I absolutely love that idea. We've been going out for some weekend runs together as a group, which has been a big part of my winter running so far. But the idea to do workouts together, yeah, excites me a lot. So next time you're down in Niagara, we'll definitely set something up.
Yeah, I saw those pictures of the Brock track under the lights, and that looks very nice. And I do lots of my threshold and speed stuff on the track, but doing it solo is not super fun and it's pretty lonely. So another goal of mine is definitely I'm pretty good at just slogging through the miles by myself, but I want to make more of an effort to run with people more, whether it's recovery runs, doing workouts, like even if we're at different paces, is just trying to, run with people more and just kind of use it as more of a chance to catch up. So yeah, if anyone is in Toronto and is looking for some winter miles, just shoot me a message and I'm always down for some miles. And lastly, I don't have any distance goals for now. I'll wait until December, like I did in 2024, to set my distance goal and have a ridiculous last month. So no distance goals, just performance.
I love it. Well, you're set up for a fast year, that's for sure. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yeah, in the 2:30s, that's wicked fast. That is wicked fast. I can't even
Illegal.
imagine.
It's illegal.
I think before we wrap up, I just have one question for both of you of for these big goals that you guys have for across various disciplines, what do you think is the one change that you're going to be making to try to push yourself to that level? One or two changes.
Go with, for me, it'll be staying consistent and just keeping those weekly volume just at a consistent increase, and also having those recovery weeks. But important not to miss those workouts. And you know me, I love to miss some nice workouts. So I think that'll be my main focus. And also, in the past, I've been working on, a marathon block, and then rolling into just a lot of maybe playing catch up and getting into an Ironman block and getting as much training as possible in for that. But I think my main goal this year will be focused on that Ironman block primarily, and then sprinkling in those little races in between, and then after is a whole other story. But I think my main focus will be that Ironman block instead of a marathon block first. I think it might help me with volume wise, and not over biking and over running.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point on the consistency. That's one for me, certainly, especially with such a like broad volume goal for the whole year. That's roughly it's actually, if you consider tr- uh, travel weeks where you're not going to be able to put in as much volume, this is over 200 kilometers a week. So that's quite a jump from where I was on the bike last year. So I think that's going to be one of the cornerstones, is consistent, but also structured training on the bike. So lots of easy mileage, but actually sprinkling in some workouts, because traditionally my biking was just go out and ride, and running where I had that structure. But this year I aim to have a little bit of structure on both and cut down on maybe days running, but still do some of that longer stuff that I really enjoy. And I think the other key to success that'll make this year really a good year is following that physio training, relying on just kind of luck sometimes to not get injured has not been the best approach. And so hopefully with some of that cross training, it'll be a very successful year for myself.
Yeah, and for me, the name of the game is going to be focus on the little things as I try to squeeze out what potentially is the last bit of running potential that I have, and trying to get to that peak of what I can do. I really need to start focusing on those little things, whether that's little nutrition things, like as soon as I'm done a workout, getting right to that recovery, getting protein in, kind of getting a good healthy meal, staying on top of physio, massage, doing those on a very regular cadence, doing stretching, strength work, mobility, and being super consistent with those things, and just staying on top of it so that I'm not getting injured through these intense marathon blocks.
Wait to see it. That's going to be amazing. You always think, that's what I love about these sports, is there's never a plateau. You could just keep going, improving yourself, getting a bit better year by year, month by month. Just those little things improve. So it's going to be real nice.
Yeah, I think the one thing we have in common is that 2025 is bound to be a big year, certainly bigger and better than 2024. So yeah, I look forward to revisiting this podcast outline that we have here in 12 months to see how well we do. And it might be wise that we do a mid-year checkup just to see how we're doing. What do you guys think about that?
Great idea. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I'll consider doing a distance goal in our mid-year checkup. We'll see how I'm doing.
Beautiful. Well, why don't we wrap things up, Tyler?
That'll be our mid-year review. Can't wait to hear it. So thanks for tuning in, guys, on episode 31 to our podcast. We hope you're as excited as us to see what 2025 brings, and can't wait to see the community out there.
And if you're ready to tackle your endurance goals with us in 2025, make sure to follow us, Boys in Motion, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and join our Strava Club. And don't forget to subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you don't miss a single episode.
Here's to bigger, better, and bolder in 2025. Let's crush these goals together.
Motivated, keep moving and grooving, and we'll see you next time on The Boys in Motion.